If I was your kid or your wife, you would probably.
Who's that? Chris Cuomo?
Yeah, when he got into his ass.
Whose ass did he get into?
It's Monday.
Chris, I never said that. I asked Allison if she walked with me. I made a decision. My wife and I together made a decision that it was too much. We didn't know how much longer it was going to go on. And we got up and left. Listen, we weren't sitting at the front table. We didn't make a ruckus. We just simply got up and left. It was simply a personal decision because it was too much for us. And by the way, if the president or any other politician, actually, if they're on earth, if you feel hurt by what they say, if it's inappropriate, I don't think it's a good thing either. I don't think it's good for us to actually like this, but I think you guys do a splendid job of making the case against when the president is so blind all the time, right? And you invite me on, which I appreciate. Openly, but what about when the press corps? But what about when the press corps is over the line? In this case, the White House Press Corps Association. They weren't the ones telling the jokes. They admitted that it was a mistake to invite this people. Yeah, they admitted it. I mean, you two should embrace that. We did it the whole morning. We've been talking about it. I've watched you, but why is it hypocrisy for me to also say, because you're not as upset about what the President of the United States says on a regular basis?
Thank you. That's the hypocrisy.
Be so offended by jokes that you may think failed or didn't fail. It's everybody's right to feel. Because where is it there? Because you come on and you're upset about this comedian the way you are right now. That's your right and it's fair. But you do not match that in any way when it comes to the president and his actions. I watched you in this interview say you're not sure what the president meant when he was clearly mocking the exact disability of the reporter. That's not right because you can put hundreds of clips where he does the very safe. Not that way. I've seen the lame defenses.
See, we know all that shit. These people, man.
I'm just saying how this. I was pointing out how Chris was. This was Monday after the
the governor of New York his daddy?
Yeah, he is.
Oh, okay.
No, his brother. The former governor's his daddy.
Yeah.
Okay. The older Cuomo. Got it. Okay.
Look, y'all. I am pretty convinced that Dems are going to blow this.
Well, there's days when I will admit there are days when I go from being.
I think there's the reality for it that sets in for me too, but I keep holding out hope. I really do.
Well, here's my concern. This is going to be part of what Eric
What are you
saying.
hoping for? You hoping that they win?
I hope that they win because at the end of the day,
the big ticket item is if they win and they go in with a plan, and we can say they did what they said they were going to do. Eric, the issue is they don't have a plan. They don't show anything that, one, is going to possibly cause people to not be excited and not come out. And two, if they do, then they're going to fuck it up when they're in because they didn't stand for anything. I get that. I am willing to take change. I have less issue, to be honest with you, with Donald Trump than I do with the Republicans
that are silent.
And then the Democrats who don't look at that. And, I mean, that's a right there, Eric, to your point, that's a campaign strategy right there.
Yeah.
It's to say, look, Paul Ryan did laundry list, and I'm a big laundry list person because it really does work. Like what's his name? Lee, when he called in, he basically laundry listed it. Take Paul Ryan and say, here's an example of a stalwart Republican and what he has not done, but yet he backed Donald Trump. So you can shoot dumb and walk at the same time, bring out the issues, and then say, and here are his policies and how they've negatively affected you as a congressman and speaker, what we're going to do differently. They aren't doing that. They aren't being definitive, and they could do both. And I guess this is where I get hung up sometimes with Eric, and I don't mean this negatively. I want the Dems to do both. I want them to laundry list, and here's what we're going to do to fix it. They aren't doing both, and they need to because they're going to lose people.
That's where you attract independent voters,
right?
That's where you get their enthusiasm,
exactly. And that's what they're. And what's troubling to me is that when I said that, made the comment about taking the air out of the room or Trump sucking all the air out, is that there's nobody. Like, why is it that the three of us can sit here and go, this is what they need to do? And if they are doing it, to your concern, but you pointed it out. If they are
Yeah.
doing it behind the scenes,
Yeah.
there's gonna have to come a point where they got to shift,
Yeah.
pivot, to use
The
your
thing
word,
is-
and say, "Here's what." Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you
No,
off.
no,
there.
I was
Here's what we've been working on.
yeah.
Then
Because
you're not doing it.
No.
wait.
Wait. I'm just saying that they're gonna have to shift like now.
Here is what I see.
That this is what we've been working on, and here's what we're gonna do.
If you're
Boom,
doing it
boom,
behind the
boom.
scenes, you're not doing it.
But they need to. Okay, maybe they're not.
Because here's what I see.
Maybe they're right.
If when we're talking about the media, if you really think about it in contrast and you juxtapose the two, they're really not that different. They're all still talking about that idiot. Just people trying to make the people who don't want to vote
Well,
or say
it's
they don't
driving ratings.
want to make him feel a little bit, make them feel a little bit better because they get a different angle of about him. Fox is praising him. The other people are they're not really praising
They're
him,
not calling him
but
out.
they're not
Constantly
calling him
not.
out either. Exactly. So
They're
are we
justifying.
right?
They got foolish people. I mean, like CNN.
Yeah, but when the Dems say something, it gets pressed. Like when Mama, what's her name from California, the congressman who's talking about impeaching Trump,
I almost called her Troy Reed.
Oh,
damn it.
Auntie Maxine.
Auntie
Maxine, when
yeah.
she says that idiot needs to be in,
She does.
then she gets pressed.
She
Yeah.
does get pressed.
And
So
That's right.
if they're not saying that out loud and generating press interest, then they're not saying it.
And that's where I am with.
I
what's
think
the-
they realize that, to be honest with you, E, I think that the Democrats have realized that at this point, regardless of what they come out and say that they're going to do should they win, they don't have shit without Mueller's investigation actually legitimately coming up with something on that.
Well, that's
man.
what Eric said a couple
Well,
of
they
months
do.
ago.
They have 3,000 lies.
No, I got what you're saying on that one, but what they're holding out hope of, beyond
Is
hope
that
on
Mueller's
is
gonna
that
have the
Mueller's
goods.
gonna actually give them something.
See,
that
that's a
this
problem
man
too.
is.
Yeah,
I
mean,
said that. That's a problem
well,
too.
Yeah, that's a bigger problem.
That's an
because that
even
means-
bigger problem.
That means
Yes.
that validates to some extent what Eric is saying about them not doing anything. They're waiting on Mueller to bring the goods. And I worry of that. That to me, when you said about Jim's message, that is my bigger concern, is that they're waiting for Mueller to run the ball in the
Yeah.
end zone when all they had to do was
Right.
just hand it off and run this way. And they're not doing that.
Yes,
And then Mueller's not going to have it or have it in
Exactly.
time.
exactly.
And then they're going to be caught.
And then to Bill's point, what he said about the yes or no question and putting them all on Front Street, that's for both sides.
It
That's
is.
not just for
Politicians
because-
overall.
because when
politicians overall.
and he did say that. He
Yeah.
said Republicans, Democrats, and Independents. I think that a lot of the Democrats need to be answering the question. They need to say, "Well, this is Eric's way of saying
Yeah.
they need to stand for something."
Yeah.
They need to say, "No, that's a dumb idea,"
I think
and this is what we're going to do. That's
I
a
think
better idea.
CNN, MSNBC, all those
But you know,
other
they don't
HLN,
want.
all
But
those,
see, here's the thing. Trust me, they don't. The hosts of those shows, they don't want
I
to
said that
hear.
was so. Then you're right. You're back to what I said. They're not interested in giving anything other than a spinoff on Trump. If they were truly vested in wanting to see what was best for this country be done, then they would become statisticians, mathematicians,
And let's
and
face
they would
it,
start.
they got the staff and they got the data.
Yeah.
If I were, let's just say I was. I mean, there are some people. There's the Smallwell, the guy in California. I will say that, frankly, if there's a state where the Democrats, Senate and House, mostly Senate, mostly House representatives are doing their job, they're doing the work, it's from California.
Mhm,
They're shifting those.
Smallwell and the
yeah.
number and some other, they are doing their
mhm,
job.
mhm.
There needs to be more of that sort of. When
But they
get
are
on the
still
show,
just picking on Trump, though. They're not really standing for
yeah.
something.
No, I know,
Right.
but where I'm going with this is what they are standing on is something that the Dems aren't doing across the board, which is this is one of those times when I talking about his stinkiness needs to be packaged rather than just saying he's stinky. It needs to be he's stinky, and here's what the stink has caused.
Mm.
This is what we'll do to prevent
This is what we're going to do to prevent it. They aren't doing that. They aren't pivoting. That's not really pivoting
That's,
here.
that's what excites independent voters.
That's what they're not doing, and that scares me because if they're waiting on Mueller
Mhm.
and they haven't been doing that along the way,
And it pisses me off that they don't do that and ask me for $5 goddamn dollars.
they need to do it. They need to do it all the time. They can say Trump is stinky.
Uh-huh.
Here's what it's caused, and this is what we're gonna do about it.
Yeah.
And they need, and if they laundry listed it, it's kind of simple.
Ask me for $5 goddamn.
They gonna do that. They gonna do
They're
that.
gonna do that regardless.
Please.
Because if you think for 1 second that them doggone Republicans ain't asking for damn money, you sadly mistaken, because they is too.
Yeah, that's the frustrating part for me.
It's okay to ask for $5 as long as you do it rich.
Hey, man,
And
Yeah.
but not everybody needs to know what they're gonna do with the $5. Not everybody.
Yeah, but when
I
you
just,
when you look
you know,
at
when
them,
they-
I
when
just
they
delete
send me
them
an email,
anymore, and I've unsubscribed the number of them.
I've unsubscribed them, you know, but have I contributed to the DNC? Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm just being honest.
Well, that's a big issue. It is concerning. I'm not saying that I think that
Heck, I unsubscribed when Barack was running because you get inundated with
Yeah, you do.
emails.
And the closer you get to
Yeah,
the
the closer
election,
you get to it,
the
gets
more
worse
you
and worse
get
and
inundated.
worse.
I mean, it's
And
like
I'm
daily.
like, you know what? I unsubscribed because I've made up my mind already at that point. So I don't need to keep
Yeah.
listening or hearing or.
I got issue with the Dems. I got issue with the Dems, but I ain't flipping.
No,
I
and
mean, that's why when Yolanda said what she said, I was
Yeah.
like, wait a minute, hold on a second. I appreciate what you're saying, but oh boy, in
I mean, how
Ohio,
many
Why
people
wouldn't
are
you
still
flip?
on the fence?
Huh?
How many people are still on the
Kasich?
fence?
Kasich is not.
Look,
Kasich didn't show me anything.
Kasich, maybe not. Maybe what about John Huntsman?
Well, that's why I said, give me somebody that would be worth flipping too, and they haven't presented that person yet. So that's
I thought John Huntsman was a credible candidate.
well, where is he?
I wouldn't have voted for him over. Well, he couldn't make it through the lunatic right wing chopping machine.
So then that's not
that's
necessarily
why
his
I
I
fault.
wouldn't have voted for him
Yolanda-
president.
That's
though.
not necessarily.
But he was a
his fault.
reasonable candidate.
He was. He
But
was. And
that's why
President
I asked
appointed him
Yolanda
to.
the question that I asked her. In the absence that the Democrats don't do that, given what you've seen so far, and if
That's-
that idiot runs
She said
again,
she might stay
will
home.
you stay home?
She said she might.
No, she said she wouldn't. She said she wouldn't
But
stay
she would.
home.
She said she would. She might vote for a moderate Republican. That's
Yeah,
what she said.
but the point is, she did say, but
And
ain't
I
no
would too.
moderate Republican running against
She
Trump. Is the
paused.
only one on the other side.
Well, for president, yeah.
She
So
paused
it's
too long.
people like that
Yeah.
that scare me more than anybody
Yolanda?
else,
Yeah.
because
They might stay. They
they
might
might
tell
stay
them,
home
don't
because
put
the
it on
Dems ain't
Yolanda.
gave them something.
But don't put it on Yolanda. Put it on the candidates. The Democrats aren't giving you candidates.
But see, okay.
But I know enough to know that I don't want that candidate. Anything would
That's
be better
why I
than
had
that
this-
candidate.
That's why.
What candidate? The moderate Republican?
The fucker that's in the office now, anything
There's
is
not
better
gonna
than
come-
him.
Wait.
There's
She
not gonna
talked
be a
about
moderate
voting
Republican.
for a moderate Republican.
Yeah, but there's not going to be one.
But you're missing what I'm saying. There won't be one. He's gonna be the one.
She
on the
said
ticket.
though that she would vote for one if there was a.
I would have voted for a moderate Republican.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
I
what I'm
said
saying.
that before.
Right. That's all I'm
I've
saying.
said that before.
Here's where I stand on that. You said why wouldn't I flip? Because they haven't proven to me that they have my permanent interest in
You mean that moderate Republican that we're talking about?
whoever he or she is. Where
Because at the
are
end of the
they?
day, his
Where are
loyalty
they?
isn't to me.
Why aren't they stepping? See, that's my point here. This is
Why
this is
not?
where we get. This is where we make a mistake.
I mean, really?
He's
Okay,
a
so
Republican.
but why are
We're
they-
talking about a moderate Republican. now.
If he was
Fair.
moderate, he
Hold
wouldn't
on,
even
we're
be a fucking
fighting the wrong. We're
Republican.
fighting the wrong. We're
But
fighting
the hypothetical moderate Republican, if he or she was able to make it through the ranks, then they're a credible candidate.
Where are they
right?
now? So in that hypothetical
Why do they
situation,
never make
why
it
are they
through?
not
Yeah.
talking now?
I'm not talking about that. I agree with you. They can't make it through the
Okay,
chopping
okay.
machine. I'm saying if one happened to make it through the chopping machine,
But the fact that he knows that he's on the Republican
Democratic
that can't
candidate is
make
better.
it through the chopping machine, why would you be on the Republican side?
Just become a Democrat.
I'm saying if you get a moderate Republican, they
So
can make it
he's
through the
Become a
chopping machine.
Democrat.
But he
A-
ain't going
a moderate
to
Republican-
because that's how that
A
party
moderate
is set up.
Republican could make it through the chopping machine in
So
Illinois,
that is
and
why
they can make it through in California. They can make it through.
Eric's
They've got
right
the
about that.
intestinal fortitude.
Here's where this is why I got upset with Kornacki, because what happened is, and this fucker missed it. It really pissed me off. Richard Painter was a moderate Republican.
He was. Mhm.
He had to be. Minnesota, you can make it through.
Right. He was a moderate
And
Republican.
he moved straight
And he moved
over.
over. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not going to vote for a moderate Republican because if they stayed Republican and didn't talk about
Thank
the
you.
bullshit.
But
Thank you.
that's game talk.
No,
though.
it's not, Eric.
Because,
no, it's
because
not. No,
let
it's
me
not.
tell you
Because
why.
he made
Because
the
if you got a
decision.
moderate Republican that's addressing your permanent interests,
Yeah.
why wouldn't you vote for
When
him?
did he start addressing my permanent interests?
I'm saying if you have a moderate Republican that's addressing your permanent interests,
Real time, right now. He's doing it now.
I'm saying if there
If I
was
had
a hypothetical
anybody-
moderate Republican
Okay.
who addresses your permanent interests,
Right.
why wouldn't you vote for him?
I would, as long I'm going to put here. Let me tell you why. because I'm going to put him or her to the same litmus test as I would a moderate
The
Democrat.
litmus test is, do you address my permanent interests?
Right. And if he or she
Right.
hasn't, they don't have a body of work, just like a Democrat. Because what I'm not saying is there have been Republican candidates that I literally have said they're making more sense than a Democrat. And I have voted in those cases. So I'm not saying I haven't ever or would not ever. I'm saying the body of work and the choices right now limit that opportunity.
But you know
greatly.
what?
I don't disagree with that. I'm just saying in a real world, if a moderate Republican made it through, and in certain states where they can make it through, and they address your permanent interests, we got to be about our permanent interests.
But I wouldn't
not
gauge
the
them. I
games.
wouldn't gauge them that way, because
I
if they
gotta
were
feel
a
their body
moderate
of work.
Republican, it wouldn't be me that I would be worried about, because I'm smart enough to make a decision and do what I need to do for me. It would be the others that were less fortunate than me that I would be worried about if he had their best interest at heart, because you can only speak a certain
Well,
language.
he or she could also reach them. To Eric's point, if they are speaking to our permanent interests, okay, and I'm going to say, yeah, this guy or gal, irrespective of the gang that they were
I don't
part
think
of.
they would be able to reach it, because
But that's because, see, right now, we talk about who we don't have on the bench. The Republicans don't have a real bench either of people that are going to be about my permanent interest. That is why
Oh, they do though. These Tea Party lunatics are
permanent
their
interest,
bench.
permanent interest.
That address our permanent interests, right? But they do have a bench though.
That's why I said permanent
Democrats
interest.
don't really
I
have
don't
a
give a
bench.
shit about the fact that they have a bench of
Take that back.
lunatics.
Those twins from New Mexico.
The Castro brothers.
Yeah.
They got that. They got Kamala. They got Corey.
Shit, Cam's my age, man. She ain't
So,
that.
so fucking what? Barack got elected when he was 50.
I
Oh,
suppose.
no, 49.
and I want somebody with some experience. I don't want one of these little
I'm
young
trying to tell
whippersnappers
you.
just coming off up in there talking about, oh, I got all these old crazy kooky ideas that ain't been
Hey,
tried and
look, I'm
tested.
just going.
There's something to experience, bro.
I'm going
Trust
on
me
record
on that
right
one.
now.
I'm not talking about like 22 or 25 year
There's
old.
something to experience.
But if you ran across
Bruh.
a solid 35, 40-year-old who managed to work his or her way up through the mayor's race or something,
I know some stupid ass 35, 40 year
I
olds.
know some smart ones too.
Promise you I do.
I'm not gonna. This is what I'm not gonna do the ageism in either direction, because that's what we get. That's the problem. That's a dangerous, slippery slope to do the ageism in either direction. I'm not gonna say
Or the
that.
gang shit. It's got to be about permanent
But hear
interests.
me out. Hear me out. 35-year-old or 38-year-old. Yeah, there's some very capable ones out there. And if they were bringing the right message the right way, I would not. I'd be a fool to go, man. But they're
No,
too
I
young.
agree with you. on that one,
Conversely, this is the thing that people, I believe, I think more people have got to be,
30-something-year-olds.
got to look at. I
All
know
of them?
Every single one. Of them.
one of the things that's being floated right now that a lot of people are
Every
just
single
kicking
one.
at
Like
the
saying every
curb
black person like
and saying we
watermelon.
need to
You
have
can't
somebody
say that.
new, somebody
Every
different.
single one of them.
We need to have a candidate that's going to fucking win the general election. If we're assuming we don't want Donald Trump or that mystical moderate
You
Republican.
missed a piece though. They need to win, but they need to be about our permanent interests.
That's where I was going. I wasn't done. So the
But
person
if they can't get in and win,
but-
they can't be about nobody's permanent interest.
Yeah,
they
they-
got to get in and win.
It's got to be
first.
both.
I don't think they're gonna be able to do both.
okay, so if it's
They're
not
gonna
both,
have to.
if it's not both, then what do we do?
Yeah, that's
If it's not both.
that
What
would
do
be
we
my
do?
question.
We take the other pill.
I'd rather that.
I'm
I
not
ain't
willing to
taking
do
the other
that.
pill.
I'm not gonna do that. That
We're
would
not
be
going to win.
that would
That's
be
what I say. In the absence of, that's why
that
I
would be
asked the
just
question.
as
In the
irresponsible.
absence
It would
of,
be
what
fact. It
you
would
gonna
be
do?
worse.
You have to get somebody that's as close as possible addressing all your permanent
Okay,
interests.
but that's not what you said about them being both. If they can't be both, Eric, we've got to pick.
Yeah, but they can't just be a Democrat.
Okay,
They have to be addressing some of our permanent
I
interests.
get that. Let's take it
So
back.
in the absence of that, will you
Absence
stay
of
home?
what?
Of them
Eric,
not
let's go
giving
back.
you
Let's
what
go
you
back to
want.
Jordan. Let's go back to
Yeah,
Jordan.
we'll stay home.
Let's go back to Jordan.
You're
for a
not gonna
second.
vote.
If they don't address my permanent interests,
You already know the Republicans ain't got your best interest.
that means
So
neither
you
one
would
of them.
stay home.
That means neither one of them have my best
So
interests.
you just stay home.
What difference does it
Let's
make?
put it on a
If
scale.
neither one of
Let's
them
put
have
it on
it.
a scale. Let's put it on a scale.
What about the other man?
Let's put it on a scale, Tressa. Let's put it on
Neither
a scale.
one of them have my
But
best
what
interests.
about somebody else, E? Not just you.
I think that it's up to the candidate to address the permanent interests.
Okay, you said if they don't have your permanent interest. What if there is a Democrat?
No, you
Listen to me.
Using the wrong pronoun. I don't mean mine like mine person. I mean my people's. My people's.
Collectively, I know. I hear
collective
what you're
permanent
saying.
interest.
Collectively,
I don't mean just mine.
the permanent interest. And I look at it like this. I think permanent interests are. It's not just party permanent interest. I think permanent interest should be.
I think that's disingenuous. I really do.
What is?
What you just said. Because how would you know if they were your permanent interest if you didn't think of them in terms of yours?
Well, I think I have some collective permanent interest with a lot of different people. But I think everybody in Chicago would like to see teachers be paid more.
And
everybody who's on that side, I'm with them.
And part of what's influencing that are people that are not in Chicago.
That's not what I'm saying. I wasn't going to answer that question.
Right. So my permanent interests, I think, are a collective set of permanent interests. Some are negotiable, some are not.
Yeah, but not yet. But I guess I'm just trying to add some flavor to this. The permanent interest conversation has to stretch beyond party.
It absolutely has to stretch.
It has to be beyond party. And until I see and hear Republicans nationwide in local elections and up the chain, the food chain, until I see them, as much as we criticize the Democrats for not doing and this is that, okay, there's a maybe this is the comparison I'll make. The Democrats are slow to not get things done that we need collectively in terms of permanent interest.
I disagree with that.
I'm giving a loose example.
You think they're not slow
in getting done what we need to get done?
Right.
Yeah, I don't think that they're slow.
Okay, so let's say that
when they're in office, are they slow?
I gave a bad example.
No,
trust me.
we've over these past how many years? I would say over the past 8, the whole 8 that Barack Obama was in office, and these past 1 and point something that this idiot has been in the office. What has Congress done? This Republican-led Congress done? How many bills have they even put forth to even be voted on?
Compared to how much shit they've done to hurt people.
Exactly.
And that's not a permanent interest of mine. That's where I was going with this.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to say Democrats are slow, but I'm going to put it this way. Whatever Democrats are or are not doing and have or have not done for 5 decades, whatever. Currently, real time, Republicans are by their inaction and their actions doing things to harm.
Right. Everybody knows they're stinky.
So it's not just that. They're not doing. They asked for this power. They said, if you give us this, if you vote us in, White House, all of Congress,
how do you not get shit
the
done?
Supreme Court, and 29 governors' mansions, and they're not doing things to advance the majority of the public interest in the United States of America.
They think they are, though.
Are we on?
It doesn't matter what they think. But they're not doing that. So they got to go. I will take them
in favor of.
I will take the in favor of. If and I was trying to say this earlier. If we were to rank it on a scale of 1 to 10, if Democrats are getting it done at level 5, we want 10, and Republicans are getting it done in level 3, which is about true, and we still want 10, I'll take the 5 on the hope and the bet that I can get them to 7.
I'm glad you said
rather than sitting back and going, you know what, the Dems for all these years can't get past 5, but the Republicans can't get past 3. I want 10.
Or they may be past 3. And they might have 7 shitty ass policies.
Exactly.
I'm gonna take these 5 over here, these 5 solids.
It's dangerous.
As opposed to 7 shitties.
It's dangerous to say we're going to continue to do this purity test with Democrats. I agree, Eric. I don't disagree with you.
Whoever's applied a purity test.
It's going on right now every time we bring up a new candidate. It's always
what's the purity test?
Well, he's not this much. They did it with Kamala Harris.
What's the purity test?
They're not the left enough Democrat.
What are the questions on the test then?
It's not necessarily a formal test. It's almost this.
Wait. Let me juxtapose that for you. The Republicans, are you against abortion? Are you for gun rights? Right?
Well,
are you for cutting taxes?
Are you asking the question about the purity
test?
Those
are on the Republican test. What's on the Democrats test?
Well, now that's becoming some of the questions.
Are you for abortion?
Yeah.
Are you for gun reform? Are you? It's different. It's the same thing.
But see, here's the thing, Eric. That's coming from within the Democratic within the Democratic conversation, and I think that's dangerous.
And then what the game is set up to keep us doing what we're doing now.
And that is so.
I think the question is not if there's a test. The question is are the test questions involving our permanent interest.
They're not. They're not. And I apologize. I can't.
There should be a test, because you're not going to select candidates that don't address your permanent interest.
Certainly, there should be a test, but the test shouldn't be with questions
I select the candidate
about
that
what the
I
public values are.
want to give a shot.
That's the mistake. This is the mistake that
I think I'm gonna select the candidate that I think
Eric,
will
what happens
at
with
least
the test?
try.
What happens with the test with Democrats?
Try to do what?
We already know a Republican is not, because at the end of the day, by just definition of him being a Republican,
yeah, we do.
We're
just afraid. We do. We do. We're afraid. We're afraid.
What you know is they have it. If we're talking about this fictitious, this boogeyman moderate Republican, if he or she can make it through, that's a different story.
Yeah, but they have that person.
But the Republicans that they're sending us now, you're exactly right.
So that's the test. We need to stop. We need to stop putting. I'm saying
but you're making it into a gang thing. You
no.
I'm not doing it. That's you.
No, I'm not at all.
But for you to say that they never do it, that's a gang thing.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
That's reality.
It's results based.
That's results and reality.
But there's a semantical difference there.
For what?
The difference is they haven't done it, not that they won't do it.
But right now, you're saying the same thing for Democrats. They haven't done it, and they won't do it.
Exactly.
No, I'm not. I'm not saying that.
You're saying unless they commit. Eric, just
no.
Just hear this. You've been saying unless they commit.
Wait. Let him say specifically what he's saying. Come on.
So neither one have done what we've asked them to do.
Okay.
One of them we voted for consistently.
And
they still haven't done what we asked them to do.
Okay. Is that on a scale, or is that like a sub?
And then is that individually judgment? Because I disagree with you.
In my individual judgment?
You said they ain't done nothing.
Let it finish. So you're saying going forward, if
they haven't addressed our permanent interests,
and now you're saying going forward,
we need to demand that they address our permanent interests.
Who?
The Democrats.
Why not the Republicans?
Them too.
Okay. But when we talk about this, it's what the Democrats haven't done for us, and we're not going to let them get back in and not do it for us again.
But that's not what I'm saying.
No, but
Eric, what I'm saying is that they have to feel threatened.
So the Republicans.
So do the Republicans.
They all do.
But the Republicans don't feel threatened by us.
Right, because we haven't put that.
They don't feel threatened because we never vote for them anyway.
But that's the problem.
So we don't have the same leverage.
So maybe what we should be doing is going to the Republicans and pimping and saying, "Look here, you want this? Come get it. I'm willing to give it to you if you can give me what I want."
I'm game for that.
Okay.
Historically, when we've done that, they have not said, "Okay, I'll take it."
Okay, historically they haven't.
So when they and they move the needle further away.
Remember, this is a shift though. Remember now, because black people voted Republican for a lot of years.
Yeah, but we know.
And then they shifted.
Well, we know why they shifted. They didn't just get up one morning and say, "Oh, la da da da."
I know why they shifted.
Thank you.
But I'm saying that they will shift because they want votes.
Eric, it's been
here's what's missing.
But a Republican has already figured out how they can X out the black vote.
The modern Republican, yes.
Here's
what's missing. Here's what's missing. A consolidated permanent interest list.
Or
some of it comes from the Urban League.
Okay.
Some other disparate places create lists with a consolidated list because we're the only group of people that vote as a block consistently.
And that's not true.
It is true.
They vote as a block.
They vote as a block, a consistent block of people. We're the only group of people in this country that vote as a consistent block. Mm-hmm. Who else votes consistently?
White evangelicals. Deny it with evidence. They do. They have for the last 50 years.
Yeah.
They did, Eric. That was the whole play of Nixon. Yes, they did. They vote as a block. That's why that was a Southern strategy.
Yeah, they do.
That was the Southern strategy.
It's different though.
Because it's not cultural. It is cultural.
Yeah, it is cultural. It's different.
I said white evangelicals.
And that's some tribalism shit if I've ever heard it.
And it's playing itself out again.
Thank you.
Yes, they do. And it's so. I mean, Eric, look, let's be fair. So that's okay that you didn't that you don't see that, but that's the truth. Yes, we do, and so do white evangelicals. That was the playbook that Nixon started.
Okay, so let's take your point there. They have a list of permanent interests.
Right.
Right?
I agree.
Black
with
people
you.
don't have a list of permanent interests.
That might be the difference, but that's still that doesn't
Tell
take
me why
away.
Black people don't have a list of permanent interests.
Because we don't have a cohesive unit of people.
I don't think that that's it.
Why are you asking me
I
that?
think it's because beyond all else, we gonna get out there and fucking get it, and we gonna survive with it.
Part of it, to Tressa's point, we've looked at it. I mean, Eric, this goes back to what you're saying
So
in the
at the
bigger.
end of the day, who the fuck we need?
Kind of Eric's overarching comment. Let's go back to the day after the election. You know, we all said, Eric said it, country's about to get that ass whooping it deserves. And he said it 1,000 times since then.
Yeah.
So to the question about why we don't necessarily vote as a unified block is that we've been so what's the word you use, Eric? Damaged goods. That we've just basically said, fuck, I gotta go get this done.
It don't matter.
And it doesn't matter who's in office, which is where, frankly, the Republicans are missing that they could, if to your point about permanent interest,
That's what I said.
if they genuinely gave a shit,
that what I just said?
they could go, you know what?
Let me cuff them.
Let me go on and
Let me go cuff them. Bye bye.
let me go to these black